Welcome back, everybody. You're still tuned in to the Lowdown. Now, my next guest is making her return, and we always love having a great conversation with her. Y'all give it up for psychotherapist Schellie Fanfan.
Yes.
Oh, there she is.
Hey.
There she is.
I like it.
I see what you did.
Yeah, I like it.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello to you, ma'am.
Yes.
Always good having you here.
Oh, it's always good to be here.
Now, you always give us the truth, and I always appreciate that, whether we like it or not. Yes. Yeah.
Hey, let me get comfortable.
Ooh, we about to spill some tea. All right. Well, today I want to talk about something a little bit different. We've talked about helping people, and we're talking about people getting counseling. We talked about adults doing that, and it's
That's
important.
right.
Yes.
Right.
But today I wanted to talk about the kids.
Oh.
Yes. See, more than ever.
Yes.
Kids. And let's start at the very top. We're having a great conversation. You were explaining a couple things to me.
Yes.
When, let's say, people are going through something, parents are, and your kids see you going through some emotional turmoil.
Right.
You have to turn around and then ask them, are you okay?
Absolutely.
Because you told me a wonderful story, and I would like you to share with everybody about your son revealing something to you.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Just the other day. So when I am divorced.
Okay.
Happily.
Yeah. That brother's like, really? Really?
We have a great parenting relationship.
Okay,
so.
which is important.
Yes,
Yeah.
very important. That's a whole nother show,
So,
right?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So when we got divorced, essentially I was a single mom.
Yes.
My ex-husband was living in New York. I was here with the kids. Long story short, you become a single mom again.
Yes.
I had both of the children, and they're going to school. They were very active, the both of them, and I really wanted to nurture that extracurricular activity because it's so necessary for
Yes.
wellness, especially in children, their psychology, their autonomy, all the things that they need to be
Yes.
productive adults. And so after a while, my son just started to lose interest in these extracurricular activities.
Okay.
And so we just, assumed that he just wasn't into sports, and I tried to nurture that as well.
Okay.
But just the other day, at 19 years old, he said to me that he saw my struggle as a single mom, and so he knew that if he stopped participating in track and basketball, that it would be easier for me and I could be more present for my daughter and her extracurricular activity, her involvement in dance and track. And I was so upset by that because we don't ever want our children to take on the brunt of what we want to take on for them.
That's right.
We want to take the heaviness and give them the light yoke. And to know that so many years after that, it just amplifies just how much our children have mastered the art of mask wearing.
First off, amazing.
Yeah.
You're a good mom, and here's why I say that. First off, your son was trying to put your needs first.
Right.
He saw his mom going
Right.
through something, and he loved
Right.
you enough to be like, I don't want to add to that. Which,
Right.
children, you're never a burden to us. I want to make sure we tell
on,
you that.
that's
We're here
right.
for you. That's our job.
Yes.
You let us worry about
That's
that,
it.
and we'll take care of
Right.
it. But I love the fact he was able to share that to you, and I'm glad you are able to bring it to us today because
Yeah.
I think so many kids are going through stuff. And you said it best. They wear a mask. Especially today, because when kids see us going through something, they don't want to add to it. So they're like, I'll just put on a happy face and I'll just pretend everything's okay.
And the thing about it is, not only are they professional, they got doctoral degrees in mask wearing, they know when you're wearing yours too as a parent. They feel your struggle. They feel your depression. They feel your hopelessness. You can try to mask it with whatever. They feel it and they know it. And so if I can make mommy and daddy happy by being the smiley and doing the things that make them happy, then I will go ahead and do just that. And so a lot of the times what happens is they suppress their true emotional experience.
Yes.
And it starts to manifest in different ways.
So I'm glad we transitioned to that part because the different ways it can show. I wanted to ask you some questions. How do we know that our kids may need to talk to someone? What are the signs we may see as parents, like something's not okay?
Isolation.
Okay.
They start to withdraw from the things that they absolutely love to do.
Yes.
And when it comes to children, they are very resilient, but also extremely sensitive at the same time. And so they suppress a lot of the times like we do, and they suppress. If you're a parent that suppresses, if you're a parent that sweeps under the rug, most likely your children will learn that, even if it wasn't a lesson that you tried to teach. Because
yes.
what we see will always be the number one teacher. It doesn't matter what your parents are telling you. If they see something different, they will absorb what they see.
Okay.
Even the more.
Yes, right.
And so if you are a household where the culture is we don't talk about issues, then your children won't talk about issues. If there's a culture of sweeping issues under the rug, then they're going to learn that. If you're in a household where you don't know, the adults don't say sorry and don't take accountability, then most likely your children would be just that. And so again, when we're talking about that suppression, if you're in a household where we suppress, the children will also suppress. And then all of a sudden, we're getting notes from school that your child needs to be tested for a learning disability. Then we're getting notices from school that there are behavioral issues. And then you have diagnoses of attention deficit and all these other things. And we misdiagnose what's really going on. Single parenthood is on the list of catastrophic stressors for trauma.
And we don't think that. We don't think that. We think it's just a normal part of a kid growing up. And that is so wrong.
Absolutely. There's so many aversive childhood experiences that contribute to emotional instability, emotional challenges that can become mental illnesses.
And I want to talk about that. We're going to take a short break.
Absolutely.
Don't go anywhere. We're talking with psychotherapist Schellie Fanfan. We'll be right back. All right. Now, you guys are still tuned in to the Lowdown. We're still having a great conversation with psychotherapist Schellie Fanfan in the house.
Thank you.
Now, we're having a great conversation about kids going through trauma, and there's so many different instances of things that happen in our life that we were not aware that may be traumatic.
Absolutely.
Like you were saying, a divorce is traumatic for kids. Not growing up in a house with two parents is a big thing.
Yeah.
And we've all accepted that, and I think it happens in our community more. That's just life.
Right.
But it's not.
Right.
Gotcha.
Right.
So what's one of the first steps I can do as a parent if I feel like there's something that may be wrong? What do I do?
First and foremost, and I don't want to be unrealistic,
Okay.
but I need to say this. It starts with assessing where you are at mentally. Parents have to assess where they are at mentally and emotionally, because you cannot guide your children to destinations you have not yet arrived yourself.
Okay, wait a minute. Say that again.
Parents cannot guide their children to destinations they have not yet arrived themselves. And so parents have to do the work in getting well themselves and addressing that.
I didn't even think of that. It
didn't
even occur to me.
It's such a big thing, because a lot of the times what we find when parents are coming in and they're referring their children for help, you know, my assistant and my team are like, Mom may need an assessment too.
James,
Dad may
go
need
ahead and sit down. Go ahead.
And so when we have this consultation for your child, we're like, okay, an hour in to the consultation where we were supposed to only be meeting for 15 minutes, it's clear what's happening with the child. And a lot of the times it's from parenting that is a manifestation. This is what I always say. We will always know how well we are or how well we are not by the way that we show up in the way that we parent, in romantic or any type of relationship, and how we show up in crisis. Those three things: how you show up in crisis, how you show up in relationships, how you show up in your parenting will almost always expose how well you are not.
Wow.
And so so it starts there. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you are speaking to your children. I think sometimes we minimize what they're going through. Oh, Bobby called me skinny and bald head in the class, and we say, oh, that's nothing, you know, you're cute, or no, those things are huge for them.
It is.
Right?
It is.
Your bank account and insufficient funds. Think about what you would do as a parent if you could not, care or provide for your children. Think about the magnitude or the impact of that stressor. That's the impact for them when they're being bullied and being talked about and not being accepted. And so we have to hear them with different ears and understand that the things that they're talking about are very impactful to them.
I think one of the worst things we can do to each other, especially our kids too, is when we're dismissive.
Right.
You just told that person that what they're feeling, what they're going through
That's
isn't
so
important.
good. That's so good.
I'm learning, Schellie. I'm learning.
Yes.
I really
and
am.
Then we wonder why in their teenage years they're not telling you that they were hurt. They're not telling you that someone touched them inappropriately. They're not telling you that they lost their virginity. They're not telling you that they were raped. Why? Because as a child you did not affirm their voice.
That's right.
We don't even affirm the names of our children sometimes. Think about it. If you do something wrong as a parent, I will say, James, you didn't wash the dishes. James, you didn't vacuum the floor. But if I'm telling you that I love you, I will most likely say, I love you, as opposed to, James, I love you. So we learn an aversion even to our names.
Okay, I didn't even think of any of that.
I have my partner, when he calls me, if he says Schellie, I'm like, what did I do?
You know,
I'm already like, what did I do, you know?
and that's so true, because growing up, when you were in trouble, Mom said your name.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And Mom said the whole James Yon. I knew that I was in trouble. I didn't even. These are little things that people need to hear.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Thank you so much for always being here. Now, before you go, and thank you for the wonderful information with kids, because I've definitely learned some things that I'm going to put into practice in my own life.
Absolutely.
I mean that. But I want people to know about all the wonderful things you get to do out here. You have a very special conference coming up, and I want people to attend it. Yes? Yes, go clap. Yes, yes.
I'm so excited.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So I went through a dark period in my life.
Okay.
And at that time, I understood the purpose of it. I knew that I was not going to be allowed to ever pick up a microphone and talk or teach about a destination that I had not yet arrived. And so when I was going through my emotional challenges, I had to apply certain skill sets. I had to be very practical about my healing process. And so for years, I've gone to conferences and I have felt like somehow we have missed the mark. So the Teach Me How to Heal Reframe Conference is about teaching people how to overcome their challenges, their depression, their self-love and self-acceptance issues, their trauma, their stress and anxiety. And we're teaching them very practical ways of doing that. Those skill sets that can lessen the impact of our emotional challenges so we can access the greatest versions of ourselves.
You are amazing. You are.
I'm so excited about it.
How can people get information about that?
They can go to www.teachmehowtoheal.com. Again, that's www.teachmehowtoheal.com. It's in sunny Orlando, Florida, Rose and Shingle Creek, this coming Saturday, April 15th. It's not too late to purchase a ticket.
And gotcha. Now, everybody knows that you are our official psychotherapist of the Lowdown. I always enjoy having you here. I can't wait for you to come back because I have more questions and this is free. So can you tell everybody at home that's watching right now that wants to get more information about you, of course, and they want to follow and support you? Can you give them your social media?
Absolutely. I can be found at Ask Schellie on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Again, that's Ask Schellie.
Thank you so much for being here every single time. You
Yes.
give me joy and inspiration and hope when it comes to dealing with problems. Thank you so much. Yeah! Yes! Yes! Oh, what? Oh, me?
Yes. All for you. All for you.
Oh, thank y'all so much. Mike, they love us.
They are prepaid.
All right, nice.
There you go. Yeah.
I will pay you back.
Sure.
Never. But
All
thank
right.
you.